Hey everybody, I wanted to show you my truck. It is a 2018 Chevy Colorado, your basic white. It's your basic work truck. As I said before, it is a standard shift. This is what I wanted, and I hope this comes out all right. Just show you a little bit. It's Sunday here in Indianapolis. It's about 50 degrees. The next couple weeks are going to get back cold, under freezing again, so I thought I'd come out and enjoy this a little bit, show you the truck. That's probably enough. I mean, you've all seen them before. It's your basic Colorado. This is I rented a storage unit. This is a commercial storage unit. This storage place does not take residential customers. It has to be a commercial business. What I like about it, I've got 250 square feet. It's 10 by 25. There's my trim mower and my handheld equipment back there in the boxes that I bought those. I'll explain this in a later video. Before the first of the year, I haven't even unpacked them. They're sitting back in the corner. It's been too cold to do anything with this space at this point, so I don't have any benches or shelving or anything, but just wanted to show it to you. This is where I'm going to be working out of. And the nice thing about this is utilities are free. They are included. This unit doesn't have heat or air conditioning, but some of theirs do. I can put a space heater in here, but to be honest with you, at this point, what I'm doing, I'm more comfortable working out of my house. So as promised, I showed you Colorado. I wanted to give you a little quick review of the Colorado, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and give you a little story about this purchase. So what I don't like about the Colorado, again, the four-cylinder concerns me a little bit, but it's got a 3,500-pound towing capacity, and to be honest with my setup, including the trailer, I'm going to be well under 2,000 pounds, so I'm not that concerned about it. The truck's nice, pisses me off it's full of rattles. It pisses me off that the third day I had it, I came out in the morning, mind you, it was under zero. It was -2, -3 here. Truck wouldn't start. I thought I left something on, something like that. So I pulled my wife's Honda out and went to jump it, and it didn't want to jump right away. It was weird because lights were working fine, bells, dinging, and I thought, it doesn't sound like a dead battery to me, but it jumped. I got it started, got my kids off to school. Didn't think twice about it. Drove it the next day or two and no issues. So I thought, well, I must have left something on and didn't realize it. Well, a couple days later, same thing. Wouldn't start. I was pissed. I thought, I must be leaving something on in the truck that I'm not aware of. And although I didn't think I had, I checked everything. And so I got my wife's car out again. Again, it's under zero. It's just bitter cold. Try to jump. It won't jump. So I called Chevrolet customer service. They sent out a tow truck. The tow truck driver had a jump starter with him. He put it on the battery. It wouldn't start. He towed it into the dealership. Anyway, long story short, I hadn't had it for a week, and they replaced the starter on it. It was a bad starter. What else I don't like about this pickup truck? Again, it's a standard transmission. It's a 6-speed. And you can't see it. I'm not going to show you, but they've got, a console here in the middle with an armrest. The armrest is really nice. If it was automatic, it'd be awesome, but it's a stick. And the piss poor engineering by Chevrolet, first, third, and fifth is fine. But when you shift from, if you can see my hand, when you shift from first to second, instead of being able to pull your arm back to shift to second, you got to couple your wrist like this because there's no room to pull it. And it's just not a good design. The other thing, which the brain dead engineers, the parking brake. Okay, the parking brake, you depress it with your foot, obviously. There's no hand release. You've got to release it with your foot. So if you've got your parking brake on and you start it up and you're in, let's say, first gear in reverse or something like that, and you realize, oh shit, I didn't release the parking brake, you got to take it out of gear, take your foot off the clutch, release the parking brake with your foot. It's just asinine. You know, put a hand release down there so you can pop it with your the Chevy 1500 work truck I had. I think it was a 2005. I had it from 2005 till 2011. It was also a standard shift, but yeah, the parking brake, you had a hand release, you know, so if you did that, you could reach down and release it. So that's my second pet peeve with this. My third pet peeve, and this is what I thought happened when the car died. The light control to turn your headlights on is over here on the left side of the dashboard. Well, it's in a position when you swing your legs out, your right knee hits it. You end up turning the damn lights on because it's real easy for it's just a round knob that you turn, and your right knee hits it and turns it in the direction to turn the lights on. So I've caught myself several times where I'm opening the door and, you know, ding, 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 the lights aren't on. It pisses me off. You know, it's just piss poor, stupid engineering. So here's the story on the purchase of this truck. Okay, I set a budget for myself. I had a 2005 Kia Sedona. And it had it had 94,000 miles on it. We bought it new in 2005. Actually, we bought it in 2006 when we had our son. And I'm 58 years old, but I have an 11-year-old son and a 7-year-old daughter. And my wife is 44. Sorry, honey, 39. But, you know, we bought that van, you know, because now we're going to be a family. And somehow I inherited that van over the years. After I got rid of my pickup truck, suddenly the van became mine. And I thought, well, okay, I could tow a trailer with that van. And I started looking at it. It had a 3,600-pound towing capacity. But, you know, the van, just things were starting to go bad on it. I thought, this isn't the right decision. This isn't going to last. And I thought it's not going to present the professional appearance I want to present. So started looking for pickup trucks. I set a budget of 10 grand. I thought, okay, let me find a truck in the 10 grand range. And boy, I looked and looked and looked and looked and looked and just couldn't find anything. I could find some regular cabs, but I made the decision that I take my kids to school in the morning and you know, setting them in a regular cab with a bench seat that'll hold 3 people. You know, my wife was against that. I wasn't real thrilled with that idea. So I thought, okay, I've got to go to an extended cab or a crew cab. And you know, I'm looking on Auto Trader, I'm looking everywhere. And, you know, I mean, I'm experienced in the car business, but at this point in time, I'm a consumer like anybody else. And, you know, to buy something new, extended cab or crew cab, I mean, you're looking, you know, $25,000 to $85,000. I'm not going to spend that much. You know, I wanted a truck, but my wife was kind of against a truck. She liked the idea of a van, so I started looking at some vans and, you know, newer vans that at least would look decent. And I just wasn't feeling it. Anyway, I found this dealership 150 miles from me. And you know how dealerships advertise. And believe me, I was in the business. I know how dealerships advertise. You know, you see these bullshit ads, somebody, you know, a $30,000 truck advertised for, you know, 17, 18 grand. Even though this was the end of the year where there's a whole lot of rebates out there, but you don't qualify for any of them. You might qualify for, you know, $2,500 out of the $10,000 in rebates that they advertise. So I started looking. I found a dealer 150 miles from me, and I had discovered. I thought, well, maybe a Colorado extended cab would work for me. The base models, again, this is something bonehead by Chevrolet. Yeah, the base model is an extended cab, but it doesn't have the jump seats in the back. I thought that wasn't going to work. So you have to step up to a work truck to be able to get the jump seats in the back, which puts you up at a minimum of just a hair under 25 grand. I found a dealership 150 miles away, still in Indiana, advertising a extended cab work truck, you know, with the jump seats for $19,800, I think is what it was. And sticker on it was $24,800 or, you know, almost $25,000. And again, and Chevrolet had no rebates on these trucks. Even at the end of the year, they had none on the Colorados. They had some on the Silverados, but none on the Colorados. And I thought, You know, I mean, I know how much markup there is in the car business, and at this price, they're losing money. I know that. So I thought, well, what the hell? Let me go look. So I went in on a Saturday. I contacted them, went in on a Saturday, and when I contacted them through Auto Trader, the first thing I asked, because I couldn't see in the photos on the line, it looked like it had a hitch, but I couldn't tell for sure. So I asked. I said, "Hey, does this truck have a hitch?" The response was, "Yes, this truck has a hitch on it." Great, you know. I mean, that's the most important thing to me. So I went into the dealership, and when I went into the dealership, I already had the financing approved, all that good stuff. But when I went into the dealership, I'd been told it had a hitch, so I didn't even look for the hitch. The only reason I was there is, will my kids fit in the back? Can I take my kids in to school in the seats? You know, will they be comfortable? And after spending about an hour at the dealership, I told them, I said, "Hey guys, I just don't think this is going to work. I just don't think my kids are going to be comfortable back there. I just don't think this is going to work for me." And the sales manager started talking to me. He said, "Man," he said, I would like to entice you." I said, "Look, this isn't a negotiating tactic. I mean, it won't work for me. So what can I do? You know, I mean, if my kids aren't comfortable, it's just not going to work." And he said, "You know," and I told him, I said, "I'm one of those weird people that I want to stick." Well, the story is they've got a big fleet department, several hundred vehicles in their fleet department, you know, trucks, utility trucks, things like that. Their fleet manager ordered a dozen of these trucks, identical to mine, and ordered them in manual transmission. It was just a mistake. And so they're desperately trying to get rid of them. So what I found out was each month they're putting one up at a lost leader type of price. They'll sell it at that price. That was what I confirmed. They will sell it. There were no games. There was no bullshit. They're just trying to get rid of them. So they're looking to sell one a month and maybe take a $3,000 loss on each one and get rid of them. Of course, they're trying to make up that loss through the finance department and things like that. And then, you know, they were polite, professional. I just said, it's just not going to work for me. So I left and I continued my hunt for a vehicle. And I just can't find anything in the 10 grand range. I found a 2010 Dodge Dakota crew cab with under 50,000 miles on it, and it was 11.9, something like that. And I went and looked at it, and I was going to pull the trigger on it, but there was just something suspicious. And I can't tell you what it was. Can't put my finger on it. I had the heebie-jeebies. This isn't the right vehicle for me, so I walked away from it. I continued searching, and just, I can't find anything. And I told my wife, I said, "Look, I'm going to take the kids up to the local Chevy dealership up the street here, see how they fit in the extended cab, in the jump seat." So we had a warm day. I took the kids up there, threw them in the back, pretended like I was interested in buying, and spent 10, 15 minutes there, and we left. And I asked the kids, and my daughter, who's a tiny little shit, she said, "Oh, I'm fine. I have plenty of room." My son said, "I'm fine driving back and forth to school back here, but if we had to take a 2-3 hour trip," he said, "I'd probably be uncomfortable." I said, "Okay, I understand that." And he's height and weight wise, he can sit in the front seat, but age wise, they don't recommend till 13. So I thought, okay, well, maybe this extended cab will work. So I contacted the dealer again. And I said, "Look, I'm just, maybe it'll work. Maybe it'll be another possibility, but we didn't discuss my trade-in before. Now, my van, granted, it's worth $500. That's all it's worth." I said, "You guys quoted me a payment and stuff. I know that rate was around 4.5%. I know I can get rates much, much better than that here. And I'm one of those believers. I could pay cash for the vehicle, but contrary to maybe Dave Ramsey or something, when it comes to a depreciating asset, when money is so cheap, I use other people's money. I'm not going to give up 20 grand in cash when I can borrow it at 2%. I'm just not going to do it." And so I started negotiating with him a little bit, and I said, "Look, I need $1,500 for my van." And I had done a little research. I said, Chevrolet had come out with rebates on 2017s, but not on 2018s, consumer rebates. I said, but I also looked at fleet. I said, there's $1,000 rebate on fleets. I said, I'm a company. I have an LLC. I mean, shouldn't I qualify for fleet? And we went back and forth. He said, yep. So I got you another grand there. Anyway, I'm trying to make a long story short. So I went back into the dealership. I bought this Colorado. The final price was $18,800. Got $1,500 for my trade, which basically broke me even on taxes, is what it did, paid for the taxes. Financed it for 6 years. My payments are under $300 a month. My interest rate after negotiating with them is 2.75%, which I'm fine with. My credit union was 2.99. I was fine with 2.75%. But the funny thing was, when I got back to the dealership, it was 2 weeks later. I walked back in on a Saturday, and he said, okay, we got it all ready to go. I said, is it the same truck? He said, yeah, it's the exact same one you were here 2 weeks ago. We've got it in our little thing over here. Let's go look at it. I walked in. It doesn't have a hitch. This time I was looking for the hitch. It doesn't have a hitch on it. I said, hey, this isn't the same truck. The truck I looked at before had a hitch, which I didn't look. I just relied on the information that I'd gotten in the email. I said, so this can't be the same truck. He said, well, let me look, and he said, no, this is the exact same stock number. And so he goes, are you sure it had a hitch? I said, look. I showed him the email. I had my laptop with me. I pulled it up. I said, look, I wrote, her name was Sarah. I said, I wrote Sarah, does it have a hitch? And there, she confirmed it doesn't have a hitch. He looked at me and said, hey, no problem. He said, take the truck home with you. We'll come get it from you next week, and I'll install a hitch and wiring for you. I said, well, I really don't want to do that. Can we get it in today? Anyway, long story short, I got the hitch and the wiring for free. That's how desperate they are to get rid of these stick shift trucks. And so I walked out under $19,000 for a brand new truck with 0 miles on it, a warranty, and got them to give me $1,500 for my trade, which covered my taxes and got them to lower their interest rate about 2 points, which they mark up that 2 percentage point. They make commission on that. That's how they make some of their money back. But just a lesson from an old car guy here. There's honest dealers out there and there's dishonest dealers. The markup on cars is not what you think it is. It really isn't. And, a lot of dealers will give you a better price on the vehicle, hoping that they make it up on the financing. But, in negotiating with a dealer, if their interest rates are the same that you can get at your credit union or somewhere else, give them the business. Give the dealership the business. They'll cut you a better deal, and then they're going to try to sell you extended warranties and gap insurance and appearance packages, things like that. It's up to you to buy those or not. If it's a commercial vehicle, you're kind of eliminated from some of those things anyway. But if you're not putting money down, gap's a good idea. Extended warranties on vehicles can be relatively cheap. Here's an industry insider. Most of them are marked up exactly $1,000. So you have about $1,000 negotiating room there. And actually, you might be able to get them down that whole $1,000 because you subtract $1,000 from the cost, and that money is, if they're a decent sized dealer, that money's put into what's called a reinsurance company for the owner, and claims are paid out of that reserve pool. And if your claims are less than that reserve pool, there's profit left over, and the dealer himself, herself ends up pocketing that money. Now, this is a long process. We're talking maybe 5-6 years down the road. But there's dealers out there that, they're getting $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 checks per month from their reinsurance company, that they've had formed for 20 years. And so the point is, you can negotiate everything. Now, it doesn't mean the F&I manager you're talking to is going to have the authority to go that low. But you keep hammering them. If you want an extended service contract on your vehicle, you can keep hammering them and get the price down. Believe me, they want to sell you one. And the owner wants the money in that reinsurance company because it's offshore. He doesn't pay a dime in taxes unless he brings it back on shore. And if he brings it back on shore, he's only paying capital gains tax on it. So, they want as much money in that reinsurance company as they can get. Anyway, thanks for watching. I probably rambled too much, but hope you found some useful information in this video.